The infamous tape of Mitch McConnell, I find this fascinating. This is you need to know this. It is a federal crime for a federal employee who is an office holder to use staff paid for with tax dollars for campaign activity. They have a separate campaign staff, and that separate campaign staff is paid for with money that they raise by going to, the Koch brothers or whatever. But if somebody on their staff is drawing a federal paycheck, they can't involve themselves in fundraising and campaign activity or opposition research, for example. And so this tape of Mitch McConnell that has been played clearly has McConnell saying, quote, "This reflects the work of a lot of folks, Josh, Jesse, Phil Maxson, a lot of legislative assistants. Thank them 3 times. This is a compilation of work all the way through." This is what he said. Now, these are employees. Mitch McConnell has apparently committed a federal crime, something for which he could go to prison. Bob Ney went to prison for going on that trip to Scotland with Jack Abramoff. I mean, it's this sort of thing. It's actually 18 U.S.C. 641. In 1993, this is from politicasusa.com. 1983, a former House employee pled guilty to the charge of theft of government property after it was discovered he did campaign work at the same time he said he was conducting official business. In 79, another former House member was prosecuted for this. So McConnell is running around, bloviating and huffing and puffing and saying, this, that, and the other thing, and that he should not, that this tape shouldn't have been made, and that it's a crime, and that we got to get the FBI involved. Well, Melanie Sloan, the director of CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, CREW, she says McConnell, according to Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, McConnell did use taxpayer-funded resource to pay staffers to dig up dirt on political opponents, specifically Ashley Judd. And she said, and I'm quoting the executive director of CREW, Melanie Sloan, "It isn't just an ethics violation, it's a federal crime." Now, meanwhile, Mitch McConnell is doing everything he can to get the guy who made the tape, who's apparently a fellow by the name of Curtis Morrison. And Curtis Morrison has put together a legal defense fund. He's trying to raise some money to pay for a lawyer. He's cooperating with the FBI, and he says his lawyer's not charging an unreasonable amount. He's got a website. It's one of these it's a GoFundMe.com website, and we'll put a link in our newsletter, and we'll put a link on our website, and maybe Sue can put one in our chat room now as well. I emailed it to Sue a little earlier on. For the Curtis Morrison Legal Defense Fund, he's trying to raise $10,000. And I went in and made an anonymous donation a few hours ago. He's so far he's raised $235. He's got a ways to go. But he needs to pay his lawyer. And this is the guy who exposed what looks like a federal crime by Mitch McConnell. So here you have just an average guy, and he's got to pay his lawyer. And apparently he didn't do anything wrong. That's not what McConnell is saying. He's, how dare you record us? But this guy said, I don't want to represent what he had to say. But I do find it very interesting that the press is all over How did this recording get made? And who is the, blah, blah, blah. And nobody in the press seems to be talking about the fact that on the recording, Mitch McConnell is apparently confessing to a federal crime. At the very least, a violation of Senate ethics, but in all probability, a federal crime. And what about that?